All right, everyone. Welcome to the stream where you can actually hear me this time. I guess I should have double checked that on my audio input capture, which I did not, stupidly. So I just wasted 20 minutes of my life on the last stream. But welcome back to the correct one, and we'll go from there. But this is Pokemon Pinball. As I did in the last video, that was what you could call my first reaction. It was the first time I watched the game and everything. But yeah, since I was just talking to nothing in no sense, it was. I feel so embarrassed. I feel lousy where there was no sound there. So let's anyways, let's move past that stupid amateur mistake. That's why I'm not a major streamer. And let's watch this together, and I'll repeat a lot of what I said from previously. Although I guess there's no desktop audio now. Jeez, okay. Well, that's probably not bad, just because of the stupid copyright stuff that this website has going on with it. Now this is showing what's called the limited edition, which would be the most complete, most filled out version of the game. I guess that's a nice thing of where I already watched this and went through all the different features that I can mention. Hey there, Willie. If you can't hear me in the chat, please say something. Although I guess if you wouldn't hear me asking this if you can't hear me. But all right, so that is the new Pokemon Pinball machine. As I mentioned in my last video, I think this is a brilliant idea because this... okay, great. You can actually hear me this time. I'll delete that other video where I was just speaking. I mean, I'm here in the dark. I'm in my arcade. It's dark like this because I only have a few games on right now. I have to be open at this time in the day because I'm inside of a mall, but nobody's around. It's usually in the mornings it can be like this. But coming to you from a real arcade, and I've got pinball machines over to my right that you can't see here. And but yeah, I think this is a brilliant theme. It could potentially become one of the biggest sellers that Stern's ever had. Now, whether or not what their bestseller is, I don't know. I've never seen them publish numbers along those lines. If you're not familiar with pinball stuff, then the best-selling pinball machine in history was the Addams Family, which sold over 22,000 units, but that was 1992. So that was still what's considered peak pinball, even though pinball right now is doing pretty good for itself. Now, yeah, Willie mentions in the chat, I wish I was there in person. So there was a media day for Stern Pinball that they invited influencers to come and see this game in person, play it at the Stern factory, and do a bunch of stuff. Some of those influencers have already posted things to the internet. I don't know how many were out there doing it, but yeah, I thought I got the email to be included in that last month, but they didn't say it was Pokemon. And the thing is I knew about Pokemon probably 2 or 3 years ago because somebody inside the industry had told me on the DL, is like, don't tell anybody about this. But I had a dinner with somebody at Stern, and while we were talking, he was like, yeah, our next game is going to be Pokemon. It's going to be amazing and stuff. But you know, releases came, releases went, and there was no Pokemon announced at all. And so it was just like, okay. And when I saw this thing where come and see the Stern's next cornerstone game, it's like, well, it probably won't be Pokemon again. It'll probably be like Back to the Future or something. And so it's like, why am I going to go out to Chicago and do that for something? But then finding out well past the RSVP time for it that it would be Pokemon. Now it's like, oh darn, I guess I wish I would have gone. Oh well. Still get to see this stuff anyways, and if you go to Stern's website, sternpinball.com, you can check out the 3 different models: Pro, Premium, and Limited Edition. Pro is the MSRP is $69.99 plus tax and freight. Premium is $96.99, and the Limited Edition is a cool $12,999. And so it's under $13,000. What a savings! Or by Grabthar's hammer, what a savings. There should be a Galaxy Quest pinball, shouldn't there? But that wouldn't sell as well as this because this is Pokemon. Now, people will be asking for sure what's the difference between these models. Now, as an arcade operator, one thing that I have learned is that when it comes to how a game earns on site, there's really not much of a difference, if any, at all between pros and premiums. Now, I've never owned a limited edition machine. To me, there's just no point in doing that. That's really for collectors who want to have these at homes. But after the pandemic happened in 2020, the buyer mix for pinball completely flipped and became a vast majority of the sales for any pinball company, Stern, Jersey Jack, etc. A majority went to home buyers, and it was something like 85% for a while there. Now it's not quite that high anymore, and still, as I mentioned with on the other video of who is this for? Technically, this is for people like me, an arcade operator, or say a bar operator, or a restaurant operator, or somebody who wants to put this game into their venue so it can make money and also bring people in, or just maybe just entertain people in their venue while they're there. That's usually the point with stuff like bars and restaurants and movie theater lobbies, where maybe having a pinball machine in the lobby is not the main reason that people go to that business. They're there for a movie, or they're there to eat or something like that. But they see something like this and like, oh, that's cool, let me give that a play. Now, of course, here in an arcade, I live and die by the content that I have, by the games that I have here. And so I do want to find games that you can't get at home or easily get at home, and use those to draw people in. And that's how retail works. But anyways, what's the differences between these? Now, every time that Stern releases a new game and they have these multiple models, which they've been doing since, I think it was Avatar back in 2010 was the first time that they did 2 different versions instead of just one. They had this here, the features matrix, which is a PDF that shows you all of the differences that these games have. Now, you can see that, I know it's basically impossible to see because I have to zoom in here, but then if I zoom in, you can't see what the differences, which ones are which. I'll read off a few of them, but like the main attractions are things that every single one has. And so it's, as it mentions at the top, in Pokemon by Stern Pinball, trainers embark on an unforgettable journey across 4 distinct habitats, discovering, catching, and bonding with many of their favorite Pokemon, and maybe some of their not so favorite Pokemon. Players will shoot the illuminated, mechanically animated Pokeball to catch wild Pokemon and complete their Pokemon collection. Playfield features beautifully crafted Pokemon-themed ramps, spinners, and targets, and watch as the animatronic Pikachu reacts to your gameplay, cheering your every step along the way. And I've got some customers here, so let me pause here for a second. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm just picking up a couple of
Oh, the Minecraft cards?
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
And
So
he
these.
was wondering if there was a couple other cards too, maybe. Yeah. That his friend wanted.
Gotcha. Do you know what they're called?
The diamond pickaxe.
Diamond.
What?
And you said Sven?
Yeah, the hero.
Gotcha. Get more of these little inserts. There's the frost scythe. Doesn't look like I've got another place. How long you been collecting Minecraft cards?
I think for
2 years. Nice, nice. Yeah, like I told your mom, unfortunately we don't have the chicken jockey in yet, and so
Yeah,
maybe
you can't
maybe soon.
get that. Yeah.
That one's going to be a hard one to find, just playing the game, because as far as I know, it's going to be super rare. So, but well, I know the people that make these. I don't. They never tell me how many they make exactly. You said Sven was a hero card. Okay. So I know I've seen that one before. Okay, there's a diamond pickaxe. It's a unique card. So unique cards are $2. And Henry, Defender. Oh, this Sven hero card must be rare. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Looks like I found every other hero than the one you want. So do you have an almost finished collection?
yeah.
Or with this you'll be pretty...
This finishes his collection.
Oh,
His
sweet.
friend, this one, and the spin will finish his collection.
Oh, gotcha.
Other than the chicken jockey. of
Oh,
course.
right, right. Yeah, I'll have to get
And
an
then
order.
these guys have a long way to go. Because these guys started a lot later.
Right.
No, so Corbin started after Caleb, but he didn't know how to start.
Mm.
I started after Corbin, but I have not that many cards too. I still have a lot.
Yeah. Well, you get a lot of the duplicates that your brother did.
Yeah, that's always the one part, is you get all these duplicates and stuff, and then it's like, oh darn,
Yeah.
I didn't want that. So at least the hero cards are easy to find in the stack because they got the metallic foil, but I'm surprised Sven is not showing up.
There's one of the very
Darian. Darian and Sam and S. And Lodge. Monumental. Danica. Peak. Fuego. Skelly. Oops. There's my cards. Monumental. Oh. Wonder if Sven's actually one of the rarest ones. Yeah, I just keep seeing the same heroes over and over again. Worgen, that's a new one. Arian again. Archaeologist. Honesty. Damar. Strider Warrior. And me. So yeah, looks like I don't have a Sven. I'm surprised. But got these two, and so like I said, these would be $6 and this would be $2.
Okay.
So 14. And you could use a card too if you wanted to. Okay.
What? He's using his own money to buy this. Are you going to want to use your own money to buy this? What do you want to buy? What hero?
And a Daring card. Find him again. Oh, you're fine. These particular, this is from cards that haven't gone into the machine yet. So that's why it's all disorganized. So there's Derek.
Okay, so the heroes you say are 6?
Yes.
20?
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Have fun with them.
Need their days. Thank you, this guy.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Hi.
Hi, play those?
Okay. Is there anything that's off that you want to play?
Yeah. What
Which ones?
do you want?
Qual who go to KDA. Oh, counts for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one do you?
That's the West Pole. There you go.
Here.
Yep. Yeah, don't put coins in until it shows the gameplay. It'll take it a couple minutes. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Is anybody still here? Because I was doing business. I guess that's the problem with doing a live stream on while you're working in an arcade. You got to help customers first. So, okay, I can't remember where I was other than talking about. Okay, I think I was talking about the main attractions, and so. Yeah, the main point of the game is to collect Pokemon by hitting the right targets. There's an arena as well, and within the premium and the LE versions, or I guess one of the things to mention that's often different, LE versions, well, as you can see, all of them have different artwork. However, the play fields, which is where all the gameplay happens in a pinball machine, the premium and LEs actually have basically the same sort of features on the playfield. One thing that LEs will add to the mix is these little lights you see here that they call the expression lighting system, which is a dynamic LED lighting system that also is built into the speakers. It also have shaker motor and a couple of other more minor bells and whistles that just again are more for collectors. They don't necessarily completely change the gameplay, but maybe just a little bit. Also, the LE version has these, they call this a shooter rod. I guess I need to click on it here and see if we can find the photo of it or not. You saw it in the video here somewhere. Because, yeah, this video was mainly showing the LE version and not the Pro models. Yeah, he's right there. This is the shooter rod, and so for pros and premiums, it's usually just a boring black handle or knob, and then for LEs, sometimes they'll offer these more theme-based shooter rods. But also, you can buy these oftentimes, whatever it is that Stern's created, and put it onto your Pro or your Premium if you want to do that for the extra costs. This is a rebroadcast of the other one because I was stupid and I didn't look at my audio input to make sure that it was working before I started streaming, so my apologies about that. But if you did jump in a few minutes ago, I had some customers come in that wanted to buy some Minecraft cards. And so that's why I was off camera and off mic and doing that, and it was just sitting there on the screen. And then I had somebody come and buy tokens. But on my very first video, nobody came in the entire time, and so it was just like, yeah, stupid amateur move by me. That's why I'm not in the top 1 billion of streamers out there, making dumb mistakes and not checking my stuff beforehand. Or I guess this is why I don't do too much live streaming. But anyways, back to the game, Pokemon. Yeah, so you can go to the features matrix and you can look through here. You can see the differences. It's mainly, there's an animatronic Pikachu, which again they showed in there where like his head turns and stuff. I guess it'd be a nice Easter egg if it did like The Exorcist and like went all the way around and but yeah, maybe as an Easter egg. And let's see the other things that are only on premium and LE, the arena magnet with it, and so there's not an obvious magnet to be underneath the playfield, actually like the Adams family had, and so it will cause different effects. Anytime that is used in a pinball machine, it does amuse me because I remember hearing from another operator years ago. He was running a game on one of his routes, which would be a location that he doesn't man himself. He just puts games into a restaurant or something, and once he found a sign that somebody had written on it where they said, "Don't play this game, they overclocked the magnets." And it's like you can't really do that there, but it just meant that they sucked at the game, but they took it out by trying to make other people not play it, and blaming the magnets for their suckiness. And not every pinball machine uses magnets either, and so, but this one will if you have the premium or the LE version. Let's see. Left ramp feeds the Squirtle Whirlpool bowl for spinning ball action, and so that would be the this thing right here will only be there. And so if you get the Pro version, if you don't see some of these things out there, then that means it's the Pro version that you're playing. But aside from those features, it's not like it's a completely different playfield design, and so there's that. Oh, thank you very much for the super chats. And so let me read this here from Bush and Ryu Cat, who donated $5. So he said, "I saw the trailer before. Oh man, you need a room in your arcade with two things: all the Pokemon tables, $5 a pull, and an open bar for the poor parents." Yes, yeah. And so, I mean, I guess this is jumping ahead a little bit, but will I get this for my arcade? Yes. As I was mentioning earlier on, where I heard about this years ago, in the back of my mind, I was like, this is an instant buy, and it's just because it's one of the smartest themes that Stern has done in recent times. Because let's go to the game side of SternPinball.com. And let me just scroll through some of the themes here. These are games that are currently available for pinball that you can buy right now, all basically the same price as Pokemon. That's another thing too. I'm actually surprised. I was expecting Pokemon to cost a lot more than it actually does. But it's the same price as any of these other ones. But you got The Walking Dead Remastered, Star Wars Fall of the Empire, King Kong Myth of Terror Island, Dungeons & Dragons The Tyrant's Eye, Metallica, The Uncanny X-Men, John Wick, Jaws, Venom, 007, Godzilla, Stranger Things, and Jurassic Park. Now, a vast majority of these themes are for what you could call boomers or Gen Xers and millennials. Very, very few things here would be very appealing to so-called Gen Z and far less Gen Alpha. But out of all of these, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that Jurassic Park is one of those that bridges the gap between generations, just because it seems like no matter when you release something with dinosaurs, everybody loves it. And maybe Stranger Things, but I don't know. I mean, I have 3 kids, and none of them care about most of this stuff. But Pokemon, that's one of those themes that can easily appeal to people from pretty much any generation. Now, to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Pokemon. Back when it became a thing, I was like a junior or a senior in high school, and to me, I just saw it as a kid's thing, and so I just never really got into it. But my brother, who's 8 years younger than me, he got into it. He collected the cards, he got the games on Game Boy and all that stuff, and so I mean, yeah, I guess technically he's still, I don't know if he's considered the same generation as I am. I think it's silly and arbitrary how who comes up with naming generations and defining what dates are what. It's kind of stupid. But anyways, it's still this bridges a gap to where kids today still can get into Pokemon, and even the original Pokemon, and even for me, where I'm not a fan of it or didn't really grow up with it, I still know the names of some of these, like Meowth and Charizard and Pikachu and things like that, Team Rocket and whatnot. But yeah, I won't get too much farther than that. I'm not going to pretend to be a Pokemon. I'm not going to be a Pokemon tourist or anything. I'm not going to claim that I totally watched this stuff growing up and I totally love the best episodes that AI told me to like some Mr. Beast guy there recently. But yeah, but I can still see the value in this, and where this could. Will this become the next Addams Family? I don't know, but I think it has the best potential out there out of everything that could possibly be a big seller. Oh, and Bush and Ryu Cat, thank you so much. You just gifted 5 Arcade Heroes memberships in chat. Thank you, thank you. You're making me feel better for totally screwing up the live stream earlier. But, and yeah, and that's a good point too, Rage Bob, where you say you grew up with it, but you skipped the anime. And, you know, and that's totally valid too. Like, that's the other great thing about Pokemon that a lot of these other IP don't have, is because you had the card game, you had the video games, you had the animes, you've had the movies. You know, it's like Detective Pikachu. I took my kids to see that, but it's like I know that was totally different than the animes were, and so it's just, but yeah, there's a lot of bridges here, and at least I've never really heard people say like, oh, I like this part of Pokemon but I hate this other one. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there that are like that, but it's like you can't really go wrong going with the original one. It seems like that's where it makes the most sense. I guess as one other aside on my history with Pokemon, like the first time I actually remember hearing about Pokemon was when I learned about GIFs, or what maybe some people would call GIFs, but I never hear people call them GIFs, just GIFs. But the very first GIF that I remember coming across was actually an anti-Pokemon GIF, where it was Pikachu being brutally murdered and stuff. You know, as a teenager, I thought that was hilarious, and then I was like, what is this little yellow creature here that's getting beheaded or something in some gruesome way? And and that's how I learned about Pokemon. But or at least that's how I remember learning about Pokemon. But again, yeah, I think I will get one. I've already sent this over to my the new partner in my business. I've mentioned, I think, in the last Pokemon video that I'm going to be making some pretty big changes to my arcade later this year. Do have a new partner that I'm working with, and we've talked a little bit about pinball and doing some other stuff, but I had been recommending another pinball like Jaws, but then I saw this and was like, yeah, now that this is actually out and available, this is something that we are going to do. For the 007 one, I mean, when I played 007, I played a very, like a super early version of it, and the software was terrible, and it made it so that the game wasn't really fun. I think that the music was licensed, and they also even ended up doing the 60th anniversary limited edition. By my understanding, with better software down the road, it became a much more interesting and better game than it was, but at least my very first impressions on it were not very good. And this is a complaint that I have with Stern too, and I guess this is something that should be thrown out there in case you're new to pinball, is that don't make well, for one, if you're not happy with the artwork on this, you can blame Nintendo for that, because I would be 99% certain, well, I'd be 100% certain really, that Nintendo made the final call on how each of these looked. Nintendo is notoriously difficult to work with. I've known people in the industry who have worked with Nintendo before. Once I did an April Fool's joke for Arcade Heroes where it was going to use a particular company who had been working with Nintendo at the time. And I ran it by them first, and they said, please don't do this because they will not get it as a joke. And they think it'll be serious, and they'll think that we signed off on it, and we could lose our license. And so it's like, that's how anal Nintendo and like the Pokemon company to a degree are with this stuff. And so, yeah, they had to sign off on everything that you see here. And so if you're not happy with it, blame them as opposed to Stern. But at least to me, just watching this and looking at the design, it looks like it's a fun game, but I won't know for sure until I get a chance to play it. I don't personally have any complaints about that, but like that also is the case for other games too. Like all of these, since they're licensed things, the licensor had to sign off on these things. But some of them are worse than others as far as to what creativity they allow the designers to get into. And at least from this, it looks like it's a pretty creative machine. The animations look spot on there, but sorry, I keep getting off on tangents, but like one thing to try to not do is to judge this game by its initial software. Stern has a very, very bad habit of releasing games with unfinished code and missing features and all this other stuff that when you play any Stern game, say a year out from when it was released, it's going to be a different playing game. Like, sure, the playfield's the same, but you'd be surprised at how many differences that the whole that the rule set, as they call it, that the software code makes. And so, yeah, with that stuff, I really hope that this code is a little bit more matured by the time they start shipping these. But given how Stern's behaved in the past, I'm not going to believe that. I mean, again, it would really be nice of them to have like code version 1 as opposed to version 0.86 when it actually hits production. But yeah. So the price on these is so the Pro version is this is MSRP. Now, you might find a better price depending on which distributor you go with, but traditionally there hasn't been a lot of wiggle room with distributors on that. Now, there is more wiggle room now than there used to be. Back when I was selling machines, and I actually sold pinball machines for a while in addition to a bunch of other stuff. But I remember that the margins on pinball back in like 2011 through 2015 or so, when I was really selling the most, was only like a few $100s. My understanding is that they've increased the margins of profitability on these machines since then, or in more recent years, as the base price has gone up, but still some distributors may not want to budge a whole lot more than $100 or $200 or something like that. But the MSRP for the Pro version is $69.99. Premium is $96.99, and then the limited edition is $12,999. So it's right under $1 under $13,000. Not including sales tax and freight, which after those things you're probably looking at an extra $500. But yeah, so as mentioned in the other video, these are not necessarily for the Pokemon collector, as far as they don't expect you to buy one and put it in your house. What their hope is, as well as the hope of other arcade operators, is for you to find a location that has one and go there and play it and patronize the location and give them the money for it so that it makes its money back. I've said many, many times over the years that one thing that sucks about pinball is it's one of the worst ROIs, return on investments, that exists in the arcade amusement industry. So like a video game, a skee ball machine, a crane, a ticket redemption machine, all of those tend to have much, much better ROI, where they're paying themselves off in a year or less. I mean, there's boxing machines that can pay themselves off in just a few weeks. That's how crazy those can be. But pinball machines, a lot of the time, those are 8 to 10 years, and that's terrible. That's usually you want your average to be a year to pay itself off. Now, to be fair, pinball does tend to hold its value better than any of these other things that I mentioned. And so like something like this could still hold its value years down the road. And so there's that at least. But yeah, that's the reason these things cost so much, is because, you know, they are handmade here in the United States, and they are designed for businesses first and foremost, even though there are a lot of home collectors that buy these. No, I did not mention that. So in case you're new to pinball and you're watching this, there was a little thing shown in the video here, but it wasn't explained. So I guess this is another problem with pinball marketing in general, is just that so much of it is done where it's like you already know, and so they don't explain things. And like this could also be a problem with anybody who's really new to pinball when they come up to it. So like one problem I've seen with my pinball machines over the years is somebody will come up to it and they'll say, "What is this?" or "How do I play this?" or what's the point of this? And I have to try and explain to them that what pinball is, and try and put it on a bumper sticker, which is very difficult to do because pinball is such a complex thing. See you later, man. Sorry. So I had a friend here, and he was off camera, but didn't really get to chat much today. But so pinball does not, it has, like right here you can see down in the left-hand corner, it's a little bit blurry. That's the rules of how to play this particular Pokemon game. And as you can see, it's a lot of small text. It's not something where it's like, if you wanted to know how to play a driving game, I really don't even have to tell you. All I have to do is show you the game. You see the steering wheel, you see the foot pedals, you see cars. You already know what you're doing. You're racing. You see a gun game, same thing. You know you're shooting something, whether it's zombies or ghosts or robots or terrorists or whatever it is. But you approach a pinball machine, and I think this is something that a lot of pinball fans forget, is like, can you remember what it was like the first time you saw a pinball machine? Did you intuitively know what it was, what you were supposed to be doing? Chances are probably not, because you look at this and it's like, okay, I see these ramps, I see these toys, I see a lot of artwork, I see a lot of lights. What am I doing here? And pinball doesn't have tutorials. I think that's a problem when it comes to trying to bring new people into what pinball is. And so the basic way to explain it is, think of baseball where you have two bats and you're hitting the ball into targets as opposed to running bases. And each target gives you points, and by hitting certain targets, sometimes in a certain order, it can unlock new game modes. It can unlock what's called multi-ball, where you get a bunch of balls on the play field at the same time, which becomes exciting and chaotic because there's just balls going all over the place. But like, that's a basic explanation of pinball there. Now, several years ago, or a few years ago, I can't remember exactly when, Stern introduced something they call Stern Insider Connected. And so if you happen to have a smartphone, which most of the people on the planet have these days, you can go onto either your Android or iPhone, and you can go to the Stern Insider Connected app and log in. Once you do, it'll show a little, if you want to play a game, you see this little white square on the right-hand side there. This allows you to log in with your account, your free account, and then it'll keep track of your progress while you play. And so that's what they show here in a second, right there. And it's kind of like Xbox Live, but for pinball. Now, it's just for Stern Pinball machines. It only covers certain Stern Pinball machines from a certain date till now. Now, everything that they've released over the past few or several years have included this in them, but like a lot of their older stuff, like say Simpsons Pinball Party or Lord of the Rings or whatever, won't have this built into it, which is too bad. It'd be cool if they could retroactively add an update for them there. But what's really cool in this instance as to what that will do for you here is, so like as mentioned earlier on, you're collecting Pokemon, you're catching them, right? That if you use Stern Insider Connected, it will save your progress on that, so that every time you play, you don't have to go through and collect all 151 or whatever it is. Again, I don't know if it said that on the features matrix exactly how many Pokemon there are to collect here. Yeah, I'm not seeing it right off the bat, but I'd easily assume at least 150, if not more, there, and they could probably add in more. And so, yeah, you can save it Yeah, I agree that I think that's a great way to get repeat play. Like, this is one reason why I got the Dungeons and Dragons game, is because they did add this, or they had the stuff from Dungeons and Dragons you would expect, which is multiple characters and leveling them up, and they have different stats, and you can explore a dungeon and go through there and collect treasures and stuff. And now none of that. That sort of feature doesn't exist on every single pinball machine, but for something like Dungeons & Dragons, you want to save your progress, right? And so you can with Stern Insider Connected, and same thing with here on Pokemon. With both games, which I will have here at some point, you can do that. And so that's a great way to save your progress and incentivizes repeat play on the game. So thanks for bringing that up, Ryukat. Right, yeah. If I could get away with charging $10 on a pinball machine, but I guess I'd have to throw a VR headset on it to do that, because that's what those have been the few things that you've been able to justify charging $5 or $10 a play on lately, is our VR arcade machines. But can't imagine there would be many people that would be wanting to come back for that one. But yeah, it's like that would help pinball earn for sure. Yeah, and I would assume that if you're not super familiar with the arcade industry out there, and you've been like, gosh, why are prices so expensive on certain things? It does depend on the arcade you go to. Here where I'm at, it's only $4 for $1, 4 tokens for $1. Although I did just get cards in, so I will be doing a hybrid of cards and tokens. It's just at the moment I'm missing something to be able to install all of the card readers onto my machines. But anywho, thank you for your patience here, where I've been going on for 40-ish minutes, and I screwed up with 20 minutes on the first one there. Anything else you guys want to talk about when it comes to pinball, Pokemon Pinball, all that jazz? And it was interesting, earlier in the stream when I was off camera, that was... Hey, don't put it in, it's off. Yeah, it's off. Okay, I'm gotta go here, so I'll catch you guys on the next video.